Welcome back as we continue on this week's edition of Making Waves, and joined now in this segment by Roosevelt University football coach Billy McKeon. And Coach, thanks for joining us as we continue our weekly chats. And coming off a tough game last Saturday, going up against the number one team in the nation, looking back on it now after a few days, what's your assessment of that game?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tom. A lot of things came to be exposed there, and a lot of corrections to make, and a lot of good adjustments to move going forward here. So it was it's good to we played solid teams in the first 3 weeks. When you play an elite team like Fair State is, the weaknesses get exposed, and sometimes you miss some of those things, and in a tight game here or there. Some of the details of techniques and scheme stuff. So just making sure we get that all squared away as we head into this week.
Is this the type of game that you experienced last week where you can use it as a measuring stick to see how far along the team is coming?
Yeah, certainly. Whenever you play that caliber of opponent, you're going to be able to kind of see where you're at, and it's not the end all be all though. We're constantly working, and there's a lot of different factors that go into a result. So, but it is a good measuring point to see where we need to get to, and kind of an aiming point more than anything of where we want our program to go.
Looking back at the game early on, the offense had a couple of real good starts, I think, with their first two possessions. Then they kind of stalled a little bit as you approach the red zone. But it seemed like there was a situation where you had the momentum early in those drives and then just couldn't sustain it.
Yeah, they did a great job. We got down towards the red zone and doing some things, and we missed some throws and we missed some plays too. So a combination of those two things that didn't result in much success for us. But we put together some good drives. We did a lot of good things throughout the game offensively, and we didn't get anything out of it though. So we got to shore that up and put some extra time and work into that, and make sure we're cleaning up any of those mistakes, and got to take advantage of that this week.
Is that something you try to emphasize regardless of the opponent? When you get close, you're heading to the red zone, try to finish off the drives and get points, obviously.
Yeah, you want to get points. You want to get touchdowns, really. In a game like that, you're going to need to score. Their offense is prolific and filled with talent. So you're going to field goals aren't going to get you too far. So you want to score touchdowns, and we emphasize it weekly. Couple different days of practice of some emphasis in that area, whether that's the high red zone area or down closer to the goal line there, and we got to be a little better there.
In the case of this particular game, down a couple of scores fairly quickly in the game, is it hard to regroup from that kind of situation?
Well, you need something to spark and kind of get your guys back on. It's easy for that snowball to start rolling and become a big snowball on the way down. Down the hill, but that happened a little bit there, and we didn't really recover well, and then that was a troubling thing for our group and for us coaches as well, as we try to dissect kind of how we can be better.
Is it a challenge to try to keep the team from getting discouraged in that kind of situation, down early, and then the lead grew to be pretty sizable by the halftime break? How do you try to prevent that?
Well, it's a challenge for all of us. It's not just the players; it's the coaches too. You work really hard, and they work really hard to try to play your best. And when it doesn't go that way, you start to reevaluate things and you start to question things. But we got to believe in our process and the way that we're doing things, and know that if we keep working and keep taking care of those things that we want to get to, the results will come with it.
In a game like this, as well, as it goes on and the ultimate result becomes pretty obvious, but does it give you an opportunity as well to get a lot of guys, a lot of reps, and see what they can do in a game situation?
Yeah, we were fortunate to get some guys, some younger guys, some opportunities there too. We still had some starters and some guys in there playing as well, but we were able to get kind of push some guys in some action and kind of see what they're made out of, and for the most part responded well. So it's a good measuring stick really for those guys to kind of see what the top of our league looks like, and the kind of work that needs to go in moving forward if they want to get to that point. And so that part of it is a bonus, but we'd like it under different circumstances.
Obviously, the result not what you wanted, but still, it sounds like you were encouraged by one or two things as that game went along.
Oh, there's always something to build from. There's always something to learn from, and we did do a lot of good things. We just made some critical errors, and that put you down. And you're overcoming that momentum of again that snowball rolling down the hill. So we'll take some of the good and build on it, and revisit some of the bad and try to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen again.
Just looking at things in general after any given day, any given game, whether it's a win, whether it's a close win, close loss, one-sided win or one-sided loss, there are always things that are in a situation where you want to improve, but there's also things as well that you look back and said, hey, we did that pretty well. We need to continue that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got to highlight the good and celebrate the success in that. But obviously the ultimate result at the end of the day is troubling, right? But yeah, we got to build off of any good that we have and point it out and highlight it and make sure our guys know that, hey, we're not as bad as that score indicated, and we're going to play better football, and it wasn't our day today. So we'll shuffle the deck and get back to work and try to play our best this week here.
One thing I've noticed about most Roosevelt teams throughout the years covering the Lakers, and that is that almost every team seems to be really resilient, regardless of the previous week's situation, whether it was a win again or a loss or a one-sided loss. I've noticed most of the teams, they're able to bounce back pretty quickly and put it behind them. Has that been the case this week with the team during practice?
Yeah. Whenever you get you get a result like that, you're back to work. You're either out or you're in. And there's certainly no middle ground when you're coming off a game like that. But the resiliency comes from where we're at. It comes from being in Chicago, being in the downtown setting, and you got to be resilient. There's ups and downs all over the place. There's a lot of different things that you got to be alert to, and a lot of excitement, but a lot of challenges too. So it's built into the nature here at Roosevelt University. So it's a great thing for us athletic coaches as we build our programs to know that, hey, we're going to get a little bit of that extra. Little grit coming from being in a big city.
In a game like that, and not to focus too much on it, but is it a case too where you want to just move along? It's water under the bridge. Let's move on to the next one, or do you try to instill a little bit of a thought process where you don't want this to happen again, so let's try to improve as we go along?
It's a combination. It's certainly you have to get past it. The next opponent doesn't care. The next week is waiting for you. So in this sport, you don't have time to. In any sport, really, you don't have time to sulk. You got to pick yourself off the canvas and get back to work. So that's. But again, we're learning from those mistakes. But that's not the picture that we wanted to paint. So we'll get a new canvas this week and back to work and we'll paint a new picture.
I've interviewed coaches in the past where they would say, we want to go 1-0 this week. Is that your attitude as you go week to week?
Yeah, we're about small victories each day, each moment. Trying to win those small battles and let that add up to the big result at the end. So yeah, you can go 1-0. You can a lot of different ways to say it, but we talk about just small victories, small wins that build throughout your day individually and then collectively as a team. That adds up to a pretty big deal. So that's what we talk about constantly and continuing to try to get to that point each day that we go to work.
What are the things that you're most encouraged by so far with the team as we move around the halfway point of the season right now?
Well, I think the right people are taking the steps to grow, and that's a big part of our program and kind of our pillar. One of our pillars is growth, so seeing guys making that step, whether that's a guy that might have been a little more quiet or reserved is starting to elevate and speak up and lead a little bit. That development is great to see. Seeing some of the younger guys kind of step in and exude some confidence and be ready to go in there and play and be ready to go compete and practice every day. Even coming off of a result like that, it could be discouraging. But I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of our group. Just that they stay together. So it's easy to splinter really quickly in tough times. But you come closer together, the results and the relationships are going to grow and build, and that's what we're seeing, and really proud of our group for that.
You mentioned one example of players who might have been kind of quiet at the start of the year. They're starting to become maybe a little bit more vocal in a positive way, obviously. Does that often happen with a team as you move through the season, as you progress week to week? Do you often see changes in the approach among players as well as the coaches?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's one of the greatest parts of the journey is seeing people grow and seeing people, become better versions of themselves, whether that's a player or a coach, a young coach, or even a veteran that kind of has been around a little bit and played in a lot of games, and they start to see some details and they start to point those things out to those younger guys and help them out. So that part of the journey is really why you do it. You really want to see your group of guys, that group of guys that are pouring it in every day, and see them grow and become better versions of themselves and the best version of themselves ultimately when they leave here. So that part of the journey is really the best, right? All of the results, the games and practices that go along to it are all just a part of that. So it's the best part of that, honestly.
Looking ahead now, back on the road this week, heading off to Michigan and Saginaw Valley State. First time in a while you're back on the road. How do you see things playing out this week?
Yeah, good football team ahead of us. Very very experienced group in a lot of positions, and some new guys in their group too. So, but really excited to go up there and accept that challenge. They're a big physical team, and they got a really good quarterback that presents a lot of problems to everybody. So excited to have that challenge to go compete. It's excited to go up there. We haven't been up to Saginaw yet, so see a new stadium. It looks beautiful from everything we've seen and on film and everything. But excited to check it out and be a part of their atmosphere and bring our guys up there to win a game.
You enter an interesting part of the schedule as well, as far as the balance between home and road games. The schedule for your home portion seems to be a little bit more front-loaded towards the early weeks of the schedule, so the road games are kind of back-loaded into the schedule. You have more road games now remaining than home games. Is that going to be a challenge going forward?
I don't think so. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of we're prepared for it. There's no one that gets to practice the playing on the road than we do, really, because we take a bus to every practice. So we get that built in to us. So if anything, it's exciting to get everybody in one place. When we have an overnight trip to spend more time together as a team and really kind of continue to build those relationships and build that camaraderie where we're not as splintered as we are, on a regular, Friday evening before a game. Everybody's trying to get home to, their families as coaches and the players are kind of catching up on their work and that kind of stuff and whatever might be going on. But it's good to get everybody corralled in one place and enjoy some time together on the bus and then have a good meal and wake up and all be in the same place, ready to rock and roll and not waiting on any cars or buses to get there. So, it's great for our group. I know as a guy that played, that was one of my favorite parts of playing was going on the road and enjoying that time with our teammates, kind of away from the school distractions of the different social things and people there. So everybody kind of with the right mindset, right purpose, going to accomplish a goal is it's a lot of fun.
Just as a general framework, do you have any kind of a different pattern you go through in preparing for a game when it's on the road? Is it any different as opposed to when you're at home?
Well, we set the practice schedule up accordingly, where we're not necessarily, we don't have to change a ton when we do travel. Maybe it's an hour here or there, depending on how far the trip is. But there's not really much different that we need to do otherwise. Just kind of making sure that we have all of the stuff that we're going to need. You forget all the beauty of having a home game is if you need extra towels, you got extra towels. If you don't pack it, you don't have it there. So just simple things like that. You want to make sure that you got enough and not too much. But other than that, we embrace this opportunity and really excited about it for our players too.
All right, Coach, we'll wrap it up on that note, and thanks for joining us this week, and good luck on the road, and we look forward to seeing you coming back home in a couple of weeks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.